So we're going to start today seated. We're going to focus on getting a big stretch mid-morning. Maybe we haven't moved around a lot yet today, so we're going to start in a comfortable seat. Bring your hands to your knees or up into heart center, wherever feels comfortable for you. Just take a few deep breaths and just center and arrive into the space and onto your mat. You can try to focus here on equal breathing, so making your inhales and your exhales around the same length. Helps really calm the nervous system, bring down our cortisol levels. Let's take one more breath together. Then you can start to blink the eyes open. Bring the hands to your knees in your cross-legged position. And we'll just start to make big, slow circles with the hips. So you can use your hands here for a little bit of leverage. If you want to pull and push yourself back and forth. Let's go 3 times in one direction, then switch. We'll go 3 in the other. Come back into a neutral spine. We're going to do the same thing with the neck. So the shoulders and the neck and the head is where we keep a lot of our tension. So just start making big, slow neck circles. If there's anywhere that feels particularly sticky or like it needs some more space, you can hold there for a little while. Otherwise, we'll do our 3 in one direction and then 3 in the other, just like we did with the hips. And I don't have a playlist going for this class, but if you want some music, if you want to put on something that you like to move to, by all means, take some time, do that. One more time around. And then bring the head back into center, take a breath. From here, you're going to tuck the chin under. Try to push the back of the head towards the wall behind you. Take a breath here, nice straight spine. And then release, come back into neutral. From here, we're going to take the left leg all the way out to the side. The right foot's going to stay in, and we're going to bring the left hand to the inside of the left leg. Inhale the right arm all the way up and over. Getting a big stretch through the right side of the body. Send your breath into that space that you're creating. You can look up towards the right hand or down towards the left, whatever feels better on your neck. And then on your next breath, we're going to loop this right hand all the way down, somewhere to the side of you or just behind. Come up onto the right knee. Inhale the left arm all the way up and over. Stretching out the other side of the body. And that left hip. Start to loop that hand back down, bring the hips back to your mat. Take both legs out in front, give them a little bit of a shake. We're going to inhale the arms overhead. And exhale, start to fold forward. Bring your hands to your shins or your toes, whatever's available to you this morning. Just warm up the hamstrings a little bit. Wake them up. You can let the back round out, the head be heavy here. And then start to roll the spine all the way back up to neutral. Tent the fingertips behind you. Use the hands to create a straight spine. Push the chest out in front. You can let your eyes follow up towards the ceiling if that feels good on your neck. And release, come back into center. We're going to come back into our comfortable seat, but this time cross your feet, your ankles, the opposite way that feels good. So the way that feels a little less natural. From here, we're going to come into our hip circle again. So we're going to go 3 in each direction, but with our hips stacked differently, with our ankles crossed a different way. This might feel totally different in your body. 2 more times. Then we're going to come back into neutral. Let's bring the left fingertips all the way down by your side. Use the finger pads to kind of pull a bit. We're going to bring the right ear down as close as you can towards the right shoulder. So really getting a big stretch in the left side of the neck. And breathe. And you can stay here with the head if that feels like enough sensation for you. Or you can play around a bit with bringing the nose down towards the floor or up towards the ceiling. Whatever feels like you're able to release the most tension in your neck. Or you can oscillate between the two if that feels good. One more breath. And then start to come back up into center. Move on to the other hand to bring the right fingertips down. Pull through the finger pads. Left ear comes down towards the left shoulder. Whatever you did on the other side, you can mimic that here. If your nose was down or up towards the ceiling. Maybe you tried a bit of both. Take another 2 breaths in this next stretch. And then you can start to bring the head back into center. We'll take the right leg out long, leave the left foot in, bring the right hand to the inside of the right leg, or if you want it to be on your shin, whatever feels better in your body, that's all good. Inhale the left arm up and over, stretch out through that left side. Really reach. Feel like you're stretching out through the armpit. And on your next breath, take that left hand down by your side, come up onto the left knee. Inhale, right arm up and over. And release. Bring the hips back down. Cross the ankles. We're going to roll up over the ankles and come into a tabletop position. So hands under shoulders, knees directly under hips. From here, just pick up the feet, roll the ankles around a little so you can get some cracks out. And then tuck the toes under. We're going to push through our hands, just stretch out the feet for a few seconds before we go into any downward dogs or anything like that. We want to make sure the feet are ready. And same thing goes with the wrists. So you can rock forward. You can bring the toes back to that untucked position and then just rock back and forth a few times over the wrists. Start to wake up the wrists. Sit all the way back onto your heels. We're going to bring the backs of the hands down to the mat and just lean back slightly, just enough that you start to feel a stretch in the forearms. And this can be really intense for people. So you never want to go to the point of pain. Just want it to be a deep, nice stretch in your body. So if it ever is bordering on pain, ease off, choose a different pose, do something that feels good for your body. Start to release that, bring the wrists up, just roll them in a couple of circles. Here we'll rock back into our tabletop, tuck the toes back under, and we're going to lift the hips all the way up, coming into our first downward dog. You can keep a really nice big bend in the knees still, and then start to pedal out the feet, stretch out the calves until you feel like you can start to straighten the legs a little bit more. So we'll be here for a few breaths, so just get all the wiggles up, pedal out the feet as much as you need. Roll around the ankles some more. And then find some stillness. Take 2 breaths when you feel like you're ready to be still. From here, we're going to focus on turning on the core a little bit and the shoulders. So we're on our next breath in, we're just going to roll the spine all the way forward. Make it feel like a wave in the ocean until you land in your plank. and then roll it all the way back to your downward dog. Let's do that 3 more times. So follow your own breath and speed, whatever feels good for you, rocking back and forth. Feel the core turn on each time you land in your plank. Last one. And the next time you get to your downward dog, start to tiptoe the feet all the way to the top of the mat. Fold all the way forward. You can keep that big bend at the knee again if you want. And let the head be heavy. No tension in the neck. Maybe shake your head yes and no just to make sure you're not looking up or forward. And on your next inhale, slowly roll the spine all the way up to stand. Take a big exhale when you get to the top. On your next breath in, reach the arms overhead, look up. And exhale, fold forward again. Bring the hands to your shins on your next inhale. Create a flat spine. And then bring the hands down on the exhale. Take the right foot all the way back behind you. Let's bring the knee down, untuck the toes. Lift the arms up overhead. We're in a low lunge here, really stretching out through that right hip. And something that you can do if leaning all the way forward into the hip doesn't feel good, you can bring your hands down to the left knee and push out with your hands round the back out, kind of like doing a cat spine if you did cat-cow. And tucking the tailbone under, and that can get a better stretch for some people in that right hip here. So try out both. See what your body responds a little better to. And then wherever you are, we're going to bring the hands back up overhead and just lean them slightly over to the left. So we're getting a bigger stretch through the front of that right hip in the psoas. If this feels good for you here, you can stay. If you want to bring a twist into it, make sure you're using your core when you twist always. You're going to reach the right hand forward and the left hand back. You're twisting towards the left. Lots happening in the core. Take one more breath. And then you can start to come back into center. You can bring the hands down. We're going to heel toe this left foot to the outer edge of your mat. So from here, your hands are both on the inside of the left foot. You can come out onto the outer edge of the left foot and let the knee come open. And this could be what your pose is today, just getting a little bit deeper into both hips in this pose. Or you can leave the right hand down, bring the left hand to the left knee, use a little bit of leverage here to help you create another twist. Again, always doing what feels best in your body. So try out variations of different poses, see what feels good for you. You can always, if you're really flexible in the hips, come down to your elbows here as well if you want a little bit more sensation. Start to rock the hips back all the way. Bring the fingertips behind you. The left toes can come up. Hold here for a breath, just getting a little bit more into that left hamstring. And release, rock forward. Heel toe that left foot back into center. Pick up the back knee. And we're going to inhale all the way up into a high lunge. So a lot of action for this right hip. If you ever need to take a break, take a break. We're going to pivot on the back foot. So we want the heel of the front foot to be in line with the arch of the back foot. We're coming into warrior two. So reach the hands out long. Feel like your shoulders are plugging into your back. Nice strong pose here. And on your next breath in, you can start to bring the left elbow down towards the left knee. Inhale the right arm up or forward if you want more of a side body stretch. If you want to play with a bind, you can here. So that just means looping the left arm under, trying to touch your fingertips to one another. Wherever you are, we're going to start to use the core lift back up through your warrior two, coming into exalted warrior. So right hand comes down the right leg, left arm goes up and over. Look towards that left hand. And then we'll shift forward again, start to straighten that front leg. You can leave a micro bend in that front knee if you want to. And we're going to bring the hand down to the floor or some blocks or your shin, whatever feels good, into triangle pose. This is a really similar feeling to when we had knee to elbow, but now you're getting a little bit more in that front leg with it being straight. Take one more breath. And then lift back up into your warrior two hold. Start to cartwheel the arms back down to frame that left foot. Take the left foot back beside the right. Let's bring the knees down, lower all the way to the front of the body. Bring the hands just slightly out in front. Let's pull through the finger pads on the inhale. Loop the shoulders up, back and down. Come into cobra. And exhale, release. One more time like that. Lift up on the inhale, come into your cobra. And exhale, release. Bring the hands back underneath the shoulders. Let's lift up through our tabletop back into our downward facing dog. Again, pedal at the feet. Get out any wiggles that you need to, and then find your stillness. Take 2 breaths. Start to tiptoe the feet to the top of your mat, fold forward. Heavy head. And then inhale, rise all the way up to stand. Big exhale at the top. Inhale, lift the arms overhead, look up. You can come up onto the tiptoes and stretch if you want to. And on your exhale, fold forward. Come up halfway on the inhale, hands to shins. And then bring the hands down on the exhale. Take the left foot all the way back behind you. Bring the knee down, untuck the toes. We're going to lift up into our low lunge. And same thing here on this side. If this doesn't feel great, leaning all the way forward into that hip, rock the hips back just a little. Bring the hands to the right knee and push the spine to the back wall. Tuck the tailbone under. So you're stretching through the left hip, whichever version feels better in your body. Wherever you are, bring the hands back overhead. Tilt them a little bit over to the right. And you can stay here if that feels good, or you can bring it into a twist. Start to extend the left hand forward and the right arm back. Use the core as you twist towards the right. One more breath. Start to bring it back into center. Bring the hands down. And we're going to heel toe that right foot all the way out to the outer edge of your mat. Let that knee come out. You can come out onto the outer edge of the right foot. And this, your pose, are coming down to your elbows. Or if you want another twist, leave the left hand down, bring the right hand to the right knee. Use that to open up the chest towards the side wall. Wherever you are, start to come back up onto the hands. Shift all the way back, bring the fingertips behind you. Stretch out through that right hamstring. And then rock forward, heel toe the right foot back into center. Pick up the back knee and lift up into your high lunge. Take one breath here and then start to pivot on the back foot, coming into our warrior two stance on this side. Heel in line with your arch. Extend the hands. Feel the shoulders strong on your back. On your next breath, start to bring your elbow to your knee. Inhale the left arm up overhead or forward. And if you were playing around with the bind on the other side, you can try it on this side too. Let's start to lift up through our warrior two. Left hand comes down the left leg, right arm goes up overhead, exalted warrior. And then shift through your warrior two one more time, straighten that front leg. Bring the hand to the shin or the foot or the mat. Left arm goes up overhead, triangle pose. One more breath. And then lift back up, warrior two, hold here. Start to cartwheel the hands to frame that right foot. Take the right foot beside the left, hold your plank. And you can do a similar vinyasa to what we did last time, where you bring your knees down and go through cobra, or you could go through chaturanga push-up, upward dog, into downward dog. Regardless, we're all going to meet in our downward dog. So if you're doing chaturanga push-up, your elbows stay nice and close. Shift forward onto the tops of the feet for upward facing dog. And then head back into your downward dog, pedal at the feet. Get all the wiggles out. And then find your stillness, take your 2 breaths. From here, you're gonna walk to the top of your mat. Bring the feet to the outer edges and your toes pointing off at a 45. You're gonna sit the hips all the way back behind you, coming into Malasana or Yogi squat. So if you want a bit more of a release in the lower back, you can reach your fingertips all the way forward and let the head sink down. If you want this to be a little bit more active, you can bring your hands into heart center, push the elbows into the knees. Whatever version you're doing, we'll take one more breath. And then make your way all the way down to seated. Take the legs out in front of you. Give them a little shake. And then bring the feet closer in towards your bum. Take the hands out in front of you. We're going to make our way down to our backs, but make it as slow as you possibly can. So just a little bit more core. Try to make it a count of 10 until you land on your mat. Once you get all the way down to your mat, bring the knees in, squeeze them into your chest, give yourself a little hug. And then bring the knees down. Make sure you guys can see me. Bring the feet down. Try to scooch them as close as you can towards your bum so that your fingertips can touch your heels. On our next breath, we're going to come into a bridge. So it's really important to do back bending in our practice, especially if we're hunched forward over our computers all day. So make sure you're really trying to roll your shoulders underneath your body, let your chest come up. So on your next breath in, lift the hips, roll the shoulders under. You can clasp your hands together if you want to, and try to create some pressure through the elbows so that there's no pressure at all in the neck. You should be able to breathe and speak completely easily and naturally. Try to feel like the knees are coming in together instead of out. We'll take one more breath. And on the exhale, start to release that, come down to your mat, vertebrae by vertebrae. You can bring your feet to the outer edges of your mat and let your knees just come in towards each other. Take a breath here. With your arms down by your sides, take your knees back up and just start to windshield viper the legs a little bit back and forth. Releasing just a little bit more tension in the low back. And then come back into center. Bring the knees back in, squeeze them in. And if you want to bring your feet into your hands, this is called happy baby. You can just rock a little bit from side to side on the spine. Give yourself a little bit of massage. Or if that doesn't feel good, you can do the rocking back and forth just with your knees and your chest as well. Whenever you're ready, we're going to start to make our way into Shavasana, our final resting pose. So if there's anything else that your body needs before we head there, if you want another twist, you can take your knees to either side and hold there for a few breaths. Anything else that you feel like you need, you can do that now. If not, we're going to head into Shavasana, our final rest. We won't be here for too long, don't want you to fall asleep. But just focus on coming back to a natural breath. You were matching breath to movement for your practice. Just focus on sending your breath to any spaces that are still holding tension. Notice where the work is in your body right now. Maybe you want to bring your hands to your belly and just notice if you're breathing into your belly or if it's all just going into your chest. We'll take a few breaths here. Wherever you are, you can start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Blink your eyes open. Start to bring your knees closer in towards you and roll over to your favorite side. And we'll push ourselves up into a comfortable seat. So we'll finish the way we started with just a few rounds of breath, just centering back into your body and into the now. Close down the eyes if that feels okay for you, and just start to focus on equal breathing. So equal inhales and exhales. Let's take one more breath here together. So a big inhale, audible exhale. Thanks so much for sharing your practice with me today. I hope you have an amazing day. Let me know if you have any questions about anything. Namaste to you. See you soon.